this next one. She's the slayer of the Witch King. She is no man. Miranda Otto!
A brave and true son of Gondor, David Wenham.
And of course our fool of a took, Billy Boy!
Many faces of Middle-earth. He's been dwarves, he's been ringwraiths, he's been orcs. Jed Brophy.
And last but certainly not least, the Dark Lord himself, Sauron Sullabaker!
Hide your rings, hide your rings!
Have a seat to our lovely cast. We've got waters for each of you, mics for each of you.
Sit down. Welcome to Orlando, everyone. We're so thrilled that you're here. So I'm going to start things off. I would like to hear about highest points of production, lowest points, most difficult from each of you.
All right, I'll start.
Answer is C.
To me, one of the highest points of production was being on top of Mount Sunday, both geographically and emotionally. That was such an amazing location where we shot Edoras, and to wake up in the car when I was being driven to work in the dark, and then as the sun came up to see Edoras up on the hill and that incredible view. I highly recommend, if you ever get the chance to go to New Zealand, do go down and take a look at that amazing location. That was a huge high point, and that incredible set that was built there. Low point to me was actually leaving. It was so sad. It was just before Christmas, and like we'd had this huge party, and I was just on such a buzz from the whole thing. But to think that we had actually finished was like really sad, that we were all about to leave Middle Earth. But never mind, we came back a few times for reshoots.
Overall, it was a specific time. The thing that blew me away every time I would come down and see these guys who were working their asses off every day, and I would just come in for a bit, but was every department that fed into what was going to go onto screen. So every time you were given a new prop, or you had a fitting, or you walked into a new set that had been built, the detail and the love and the craftspersonship of everything you touched. So nothing on our costumes was machine sewn. Everything was hand stitched. The leather was made. The steel was made. Everything was people who were the best at what they do, doing their best, because there was such a sense of love for this project. And that blew me away every time. It's just, we got to be at the end of a production line of love and skill and brilliance. So, and I think it shows in the films. You see that loveliness. And there were no bad points at all.
For me, and we've talked about this before, for me, that day at Pelennor Fields with Bernard Hill, rousing 300 extras who were extras, brought their own horses, and those of us that were lucky enough to be cast on the horses that day, it's like there was no acting required. We were so inspired to ride to death and glory, and you know, for me, it's one of the highlights of, it's something I'll never get to do in my career again, is gallop with 300 horses and be on that massive plane with these people who were just so lifted by this one person who was our king on the day. And again, the low point, the day we found out that on The Hobbit we weren't coming back to do reshoots for a year. Even though Peter said he'd see us next year, they wouldn't allow us to come back and do the stuff for the Backup 5 Army. So that was, you know, it was not a great way to sign off, unfortunately, but yeah.
I'm going to borrow one from each of them. My high point was similar. Faramir essentially riding out to his death and being surrounded by all those people on horses as well. It was pretty epic, actually. Yeah, no acting required. And yeah, it's the same low point. Yeah, finishing Adventure Comes to an End. The final wrap. Yeah, that's the.
For me, it was obviously when the film came to town. It was quite a huge thing, and being cast in it was amazing. But not knowing everyone, and then for the next 19 months, we basically traveled together as like a circus. It turned into a family circus because we basically just went from one town to another town, and we just all became a family. And then the downside of that was, you know, like Miranda said, leaving. But then the high point of that was getting to be able to do these things and catch up with everyone years later, and then seeing the people who support us every time and every single Comic-Con we come to. It allows us to keep doing what we love doing. So it's a big, you know, kind of appreciation to you guys as the fans who help us do what we do. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I think there was so many high points, as everyone says, but if, just to pick one today, I would say having the chance to work so closely with Ian McKellen when we got to Minas Tirith, and that was a real treat to spend days with Ian, which was really fun. Low point, outside Moria, when it was raining and the water got into my feet and it was freezing. And that was, yeah, I still have nightmares about that.
Didn't go to Helm's Deep though, did ya?
I heard stories, that was enough.
3 months of night shoots.
There was this, sorry, butting in, but there was a moment of, because I, again, didn't suffer as, but 3 months of everyone working on it, sleeping in the day, working at night, freezing cold, middle of winter, outside, Arctic winds coming in, just horrible. And when it rained, you couldn't shoot. You had to wait for the rain towers, but the rain towers had frozen, so the water was colder than ice. All of the happy stuff. And totally blanked.
You were great, Craig. You were great.
Very interesting story, Craig. That was
So what Craig was trying to say is that Sauron was such a great character. You wanted to sit next to him. Was that good, Craig?
I know. And it's one of these nights, and I'm like, in my face now, I'm grumpy now, but back in the day, I'd be like, just talking to everyone. No, what are you doing? I know, that's nice. Oh, no, trying to, keep everyone's spirits up. And I'm wandering around, and there's a whole lot of sort of the background people, and the war is, underway, and there's a guy sitting against the wall on the ground like this, and it's bloody stump dripping out of his leg, and I come up and go, oh, look at you, isn't that wonderful? Isn't prosthetics great? And he just went, it's not prosthetics. And, they found people with amputees and missing limbs and things to be victims, and there's me going, oh, look, isn't it clever how they made your leg? Where is it? He's going, I don't know where it is. A long time ago, go on. That was a happy moment. Just went back to my yells and shut.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Speaking of Ian McKellen, I think with Jed here, we can be with Ian McKellen, technically.
He does a great Ian McKellen impression. I've heard it a few times.
It's very, very true. Lovely to see you all here. It's lovely to see Faramir together. It's lovely to hear women. Can't remember your name. And of course, my name is Ian heard me doing his impersonation, and he said to me, you're the only person allowed to do me. And I do mean do me.
So how often do you all revisit the films?
I just did it a month ago. My wife hadn't really seen it, so we had watched the trilogy, and then we watched The Rings of Power, and then we watched The Hobbit. And it was just like, of course I'm biased to the trilogy, just because of, you'll never see a film made like that ever again, of that magnitude and without AI, and it was, you know, we had sets that were massive, you know, Minas Tirith, we had Helm's Deep, and it was just one of those things that you will never see again, so, you know, that was, for me, just wonderful. Except for Craig.
My son had never seen them. He's 19, and he went on a skiing trip with his friends, and one of his friends was a fan of The Rings, and they watched the first two, and he came home and he said, they're really good. And it just happened they were showing Return of the King in the theatres, so we went. I thought, oh, you should watch the Return of the King in the theatres. So we went, me, my son and my wife, and just sat at the back and watched it, and it was brilliant to watch. I hadn't seen it, I don't know, I probably haven't seen it since the premiere, and to sit in a movie theatre, it was brilliant, and my son, he loved it, and nobody knew there was a Hobbit in there.
Did anyone see or notice
No.
you?
No,
Because you're not expecting a
and
Hobbit.
it was the Alamo Draft House, so you could, get something to eat and all that. We're sitting having chicken wings. It was extended. It was about 18 hours or something. But it was brilliant. It was great to see. I hadn't seen it, and it was great to share it with my son that way, the way it's supposed to be seen.
Did you consciously never show it to him? Or?
No, there was no sort of.
He just went, I want your dumb show there.
Yeah, it was never really spoken about, or I don't know. It just kind of passed by.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Actually, my daughter is 20 and she's never seen it. And I think it started out because she watched, one time I was making a film and there was a scene in it, and she was quite little, and I went to have a shower, and they'd sent me a copy of the film to look at, and she saw this scene, and it was somebody not turning up for my birthday. And I came out of the bathroom and she was just absolutely sobbing and saying they didn't turn up for your birthday. And so after that I thought, like, oh, she's so emotionally invested in me that I didn't really want to show her a lot of films because she'd think it was me and not a character. And then it's kind of just drifted on. And I haven't seen the films since we premiered. I haven't seen them. Like, occasionally they'll come on TV and like you turn on and it'll be halfway through a battle and I'll watch a bit, but it's not from the beginning. But I would love to go back to the cinema and see it in the cinema. I would love to see the extended version in the cinema. So I think for the 25th anniversary I should do that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we should go together. Let's have a screening. Where will we have it?
All of us.
Draft house.
Yeah.
Billy's paying.
Chicken wings on Craig.
No, I haven't seen it since the premiere either, so I'm waiting to the 25th when we all go to the cinema together.
Someone's just got to organise it. Ring Pete.
I've at the Maxi Cinema in Wellington, they have all 6 of the extended films. They play them back to back as a marathon. And because I was silly enough to have been in all of them, I went one year to introduce all the films, and it's 22 hours of sitting watching other people's performances.
What I've done is I've just edited everyone else out. It's great. It's a very quick film. Very good.
Especially that long death scene. Would you like me to recreate his death scene?
Yes.
That was one of just died. He just died.
Greg, what about you?
What was the question?
I feel like we just rewatched the movies, if ever.
Oh, I haven't. I feel really bad. We're all saying this, but I haven't seen it for a very long time. And I think the final one, the last time I saw was the Berlin thing, and it was super fancy, and it was so exciting. It was winter in Berlin. We had champagne, and there's a reception, and then we go and we sit down and we watch it, and it's beautiful. I haven't seen the film, and it's lovely, and there's beautiful singing and great performances, but we're all in fancy dress and we've been drinking champagne, and I need to pee so bad. I think I've gone halfway through the film and when Treebeard was talking. Came back, he still was talking. When he had another pee, he's still talking. When he had dinner, came back, he's still talking. But anyway, and so it comes to the end, and I go, oh, great, it's ending. No, I'm fine. And then there's 15 endings. And your bladder gets programmed to sort of know when the film's about to end, so you go, yeah, I can survive this. And I'm literally sitting there going, we're all surrounded, the mayor of Berlin is there, and there's all these fancy people, and we're all dressed up, and I am literally going to piss myself. And I can't leave to go and have a wee now, because it's the end of the film. And then there's you guys back at the Shire, and then there's more elves getting on boats, and it's just like, fuck off!
So is that why you haven't seen it since then?
That's why I haven't seen it. I've just been in constant rehabilitation.
So, New Zealand, as Middle-earth, practically served as a character in the movies itself. I'd like to know, what was your favorite location, whether it's in New Zealand or whether it's Middle-earth, what was your favorite set location that you got to be a part of?
I'd have to say Eros down at Mount Sunday. That's my favourite location, and probably my favourite set on the Wellington sets was inside the Golden Hall. Love that one.
Very quick, I don't even know what really it plays in the film, but it's some bit where we're walking through Lothlorien or somewhere, and we were in a forest down in Southland that was the birch forest, and it has this green moss on the ground that's like a foot thick, and there's tiny black robins dancing through the birch, and it's a primordial, beautiful beech forest, and it was one of the most magical places I've ever been. There for 2 days. I think that's where Vigo would on the Friday just went, I'll see you all Monday, and the crew were going, what? He says, oh, I'm just going to stay here, and he literally wandered into this forest with a blanket. And you could see them all going, without you, we don't have a film. If a bear eats you, we're screwed. And there are no bears in New Zealand. So, yeah, it was just this magical spot.
Yeah, there was a lot of special places like that. When we came out of Moria, we're at the top of a mountain. I forget the name of it. And you weren't allowed any people on there, right? Yeah. And they got special disposition to have like a very, very skilled crew, like one makeup, one wardrobe, the actors, and that was it. And the helicopter us up there. We had to wait about a week for the weather to break, that we could go up there, and we went up and with packed meals, just a sandwich, and that really felt incredibly special, because it was just us in costume, and it felt real, we were on top of a mountain eating a sandwich with Aragon. It felt like we were the Fellowship, so that was a really special place. What was that called again?
Earnsville Burn. Yeah, the glacier comes down and drops down.
Yeah, beautiful.
I got to be one of the black riders, and we did a day in Skipper's Canyon, and we got to ride the horses into Skipper's Canyon and then ride them out in the blizzard. In fact, we got woken up at 4 a.m. because the horses were trapped in there in the blizzard and they had no covers. So the helicopter illegally flew 2 feet above the river to get us in there. And then we rode out, and I could see David in front of me, but that's as far as I could see him. that was an amazing place. It's an old kind of gold mining community, and the Shallow River travels all the way in there. And you can only get in there by one road. Yeah, it was just 400 feet down into the river, and it was just so spectacular. And riding out of there was probably the most dodgy thing I've ever done in my life. Dodgy, not like stealing stuff, that's dodgy as, but this was even more dodgy because the horses were kind of crazy. And there's this big drop down there. And, but yeah, that was the place I liked.
So for me, it was in Queenstown when we had, just before, Boromir sounds the horn, and then Vigo says, Boromir! And then you see that firefox of a camera shot where he runs up the mountain, he starts killing all the Uruk-hai on his way past the trolls in the forest, and he finds Boromir afterwards, it's just killed him. And then we have the mayhem of all the Uruk-hai that are dead, it's just us, all the stunt guys have just fought Boromir, and then Vigo comes in and saves him. Now, it was one of the most beautiful scenes I've ever watched. To see Vigo just let it all out with that scene of Boromir as he takes his gauntlets. And there was not one dry eye. It was the toughest VFX guys there. We were all like crying. The worst part about that is as Vigo's delivering his speech, we were all dead. As the Uruk-hai. And the scene went on. And if you watch back in the film, you'll see one of the Uruk-hai just he's still alive! Like 2 or 3 of us had started snoring. And it was like... So it kind of ruined the whole thing, but it was kind of the coolest thing to do, and then like try and be in the scene, and like it was brilliant. That set was just amazing. So that was it.
We're all going to watch the film tonight now.
Star Wars has the headbang, we're going to have the...
It's there.
My favourite place, really tricky. Well, yeah, I am. I'm going to say Twizel. Slightly strange place, I've got to say, but it was the location for Pillinor Fields, and that was pretty special, so I'll say that. And then also a very special place that I know Miranda used to go to a lot was this wonderful place in Wellington called the Matterhorn. Which was,
We love the horn.
Yeah, it was the horn that matters, the Matterhorn.
It's gone now.
Yeah, it was a bar in Wellington that provided us with lots of
Weekend
fun
activities.
Times. Yeah.
Libation.
I do remember we used to go all there all the time, and we'd run into each other whenever you went there. And I remember the bouncer one night saying, as we were trying to get in, "I don't care if you're the Hobbit, you're not coming in." We're full.
The Gandalf's inside.
Twice. Me and Dom had to do a weather cover in Twizel. This is so if they're filming something outside and they were filming Frodo and Sam doing something, walking probably. They needed weather cover. If it rained, they couldn't film something inside. So they got me and Dom and they said, "Look, could you come down for weather cover? Probably don't need you. The weather's supposed to be great, but we want you guys in town." And we said, yeah, totally. They said, "We'll get you a nice house and put you up." And they put us up in this lovely house, gave us a car. I think there was some pipe weed, and there was definitely wine. And me and Dom spent this like 10 days together living in a house, and nobody came to see us or anything. And we made movies about it. This is honestly. And we'd watch all these great double acts, Laurel and Hardy and all these different people, and we'd just drink wine all day and surprise each other. One morning I got up and I came downstairs, and he's naked, smoking a pipe next to the fire. And we've got movies of this, and we've lost the tapes. Yeah, it's been talked about. We can't find the tapes. And there's 10 days of this lost week in Twizel.
There's a trilogy in that.
Dom has
Release
shown
the tapes. I think President Putin might have those.
I remember there was another moment where he's filming me and he says, just run up to there for, I can't remember what it was, and I just kept running, and then I just thought, I'm not going to go back. So I just ran, and like I went to a pub or something, and then I went back that night.
I just want to
Was
say
he
this
still
bit.
filming?
I did make stuff. Oh God,
So the town they're talking about is Twizel, and it's this little town that has no hotels. And so what we had to do was basically ask all the locals to leave their houses. So they would put 5 stunt guys in one house, 6 stunt guys, the cast and crew, so it was a field that had this tiny little town that we had to kick everyone out for a few weeks to shoot these scenes, and they didn't know that we were going to go through all of their belongings. It was awesome.
Only the Dark Lord would do that.
I see you.
So at this point, we're gonna open up some questions to you guys. Now, we can't get everybody, of course, but we're gonna do our best. Tyler's gonna go to one side, I'll come to the other. Tyler, you can go first.